Before we get into today's video, I just want to let you guys know that this video is for educational purposes only. Please remember to be kind to everybody everywhere in your everyday life, in your home, in the grocery store, and especially in the comment section down below. Please do not show hate to anybody, anywhere. So good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everybody doing today? I hope you all are having an amazing day. I hope you all have had a wonderful week so far. I hope everybody is feeling good and taking care of yourself and enjoying the new year, 2025. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about a very affluent, some people would say wealthy or rich family. And this is a situation, like a lot of the times when we talk about these stories, when we get to the end of them, there is either a cold case involved or the case is closed and we try to figure out what we can learn from it and we move on. This one is very unique as in the case is closed, but it's still kind of cracked open. So make sure you stay to the end of this video. Before we get into it, though, I did want to let you guys know, if you don't already know, hi, my name is Christina. I do have a second channel, which is Casually Christina. We just do things way more casually over there. I also have a Patreon. My Patreon's for 18 and up, and over there we talk about more personal stuff. We go live over there. There's a $2 tier for all the true crime stuff that cannot go onto YouTube due to their terms and policies. That goes over on my Patreon under the $2 tier. Just make sure you read the full about section what each tier offers before you join. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat, and I'm also on Like to Know It. And Like to Know It is a platform where you can find links to a lot of the things that you guys ask about, that I use, or that I love, like makeup stuff, hair care stuff, jewelry, clothing items, workout gear, furniture, cooking utensils, pet stuff, basically anything I want to link or y'all ask me to link, I do that over on my Like to Know It. And all of those platforms are linked down in the description box if you would like to come and check me out. Before we go any further, I did want to stop and thank today's sponsor, Factor. Factor makes meeting your nutrition goals easier than ever by delivering fresh, never frozen, dietitian-approved meals right to your front door. And Factor helps to take the stress completely out of meal planning, and it helps to set you up for success because you can skip the grocery stores, you can skip the prep work, you can skip the cooking fatigue, and instead get these delicious meals delivered right to you. And with over 35 different meals to choose from every single week, you will have plenty of options like keto, calorie smart, vegan, veggie, extra protein, and so much more. And Factor now offers lots of different snack options like breakfast, smoothies, juices, little different like small bites. You can even get chicken wings, and there's all kinds of stuff that you can order on there to keep you going all day long, no matter what's on your schedule. And if you're looking to try gourmet meals, try something that features premium ingredients like filet mignon, shrimp, truffle butter, broccolini, and asparagus. And I love the surf and turf, and I really like to either get like the steak and shrimp or the shrimp and salmon. And when things get hectic, no worries, because Factor is totally flexible. You can change your order up every week with different plans from 4 meals a week to 18 meals a week, or you can even pause or reschedule your deliveries at any time. No pressure. If you want to try Factor, all you got to do is go to factor75.com or just click the link down in the description box and use my code 50ChristinaRandall to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first Factor box. Yes, that's code 50ChristinaRandall at factor75.com to get 50% off of your first box plus free shipping today. Thanks again, Factor. So, okay, let's talk about the Savopoulos family. 46-year-old Savas Savopoulos and his 47-year-old wife, Amy Savopoulos, were a prominent upper-class family living on the wealthy Woodland Drive in Washington, D.C. Now, Savas, he was the CEO and the president of American Iron Works, which is a construction company that actually played a role in the building of the whole Verizon Center. He was also a fifth-generation Washington, D.C. D.C. resident, meaning like his dad grew up in Washington, D.C., his grandpa grew up in Washington, D.C., and so on and so on. I mean, he was born, raised there, and knew all about Washington, okay? Now, he would go on to receive his Bachelor's of Arts degree from the University of Maryland, and this is where he studied business and analytic philosophy, and he was a member of the Sigma Phi fraternity there. And Savas was quite the high achiever and very brilliant too, because he also went on to get his law degree from American University. However, Savas preferred engineering, and he was very well known for his having like all these innovative ideas. Savas was a member of the Young Presidents Association, and he was very active in this organization as well. And his company, AIW, received a personal commendation from the Secretary of Defense for the restoration work at the Pentagon after the 9/11 attack. And Savas was also known as a philanthropist. I mean, the work that he did in philanthropy, I mean, he was a leader and an active contributor to the Starlight Children's Foundation, the Starlight Children's National Medical Center, the National Child Research Center, where he served previously as a board member, and at St. Sophia Greek Orthodox Cathedral. Now, in Savas's free time, he really enjoyed and respected martial arts. I mean, he was the headmaster of a traditional style of Japanese swordsman dating way back to the mid-1800s. His love for this actually started when he was 17 years old, and it was his dream to have his own center that represented architecture and spirit of teaching traditional Japanese martial arts. So Savas did just that. He ended up opening one. This center had 2,000 square foot of mat space alone, which is basically almost the size of my house, just mat space. It had 2 libraries, a kitchen, sleeping quarters, and a ton of other amenities where like live-in students could excel in their pursuit of martial arts. Savas also loved the arts, including the opera. He was a world traveler, a photographer, and a skilled powerboat enthusiast. His friends and family all say that he represented loyalty, devotion, integrity, compassion, and courage. Now, Savas did marry his wife, Amy, in 1994, and together they went on to have 3 children. They had 2 daughters, and they had 1 son named Philip. Amy, Savas's wife, was raised in a military family. She attended the Department of Defense schools in Germany, as well as several other Army installations across the U.S. Amy would go on to graduate with a Bachelor's of Arts degree in economics from the University of Maryland, and she was a member of the Delta Gamma sorority. She worked for an accounting firm for several years, and she was an active volunteer at her children's schools, as well as many other charities and nonprofit organizations. She was known for her giving and her selflessness. Amy helped organize several community fundraisers and school events as well. I mean, her values were represented in her remarkable life as a wife, as a mother, as a daughter, as a sister, as a friend, as a neighbor, as well as an engaged community member. I mean, these were not people that stayed to themselves. She would frequently host these events at her home for her neighbors just for fun, and everyone said that she had a really huge heart. Amy enjoyed all kinds of hobbies, like she played golf, she played tennis, she of course loved boating, she loved long family walks through local parks, and she was a world traveler who loved collecting seashells, touring monuments, visiting art galleries, and attending performing arts events. Now, in 2015, Savas and Amy's 2 daughters were away attending boarding school. But when they were home, they loved being involved in whatever the rest of the family was doing. The girls loved to watch movies together, especially with the family. One of their favorite movies was Finding Nemo. Now, Philip, the only child that was still actually living full-time at home at this point, was a 4th grade student at an all-boys school. He was a talented and fun-loving 10-year-old, and he excelled at all of the academics that he was in. He was very extremely knowledgeable and proud of his Greek heritage, and with his father's help, he enjoyed researching all kinds of stuff about his ancestry. Philip, seemingly following in his father's footsteps, had a lot of hobbies as well. I mean, he loved playing basketball and baseball. He was really into motorsports, and he had an in-depth knowledge of the NBA. His favorite player was Kevin Durant, but Philip's true passion was for racing and going very fast. Remember his father with the whole like speedboat thing? But he dreamed of becoming a Formula One race car driver. All of this to say that the family really seemed to be living like the all-American dream. And I say it like that because, I mean, they seem to have everything and then some and then some and then some. Sadly, though, everything for them would come crashing down in a way that nobody could foresee or imagine. On May 14th of 2015, firefighters were called because the Savopoulos family home was on fire. When the firefighters were finally able to get the fire out, they entered the home. This is where they found Savas, Amy, and fourth grade Philip in a second floor bedroom, and they were deceased. Their housekeeper, 57-year-old Vera, she was found critically injured as well. Now, Vera was originally from El Salvador. She was described by friends and family as a dedicated mother to her children. She had actually planned on retiring from housekeeping the following year. Now, the Savopoulos family actually had a whole other housekeeper on staff at the same time named Nellie. She was grateful to be alive because she was actually supposed to come into work that day, but she had gotten a voicemail from Savas asking her not to come in. Amy had also texted her reminding her do not come in on this particular day. Now Nellie, she thought that this was very strange, but when she tried to call Amy, Amy did not answer the phone, so she just went on about her day.
I hope you get this message. Amy is in bed sick tonight, and she was sick this afternoon, and Vera offered to stay and help her out, so she's going to stay the night here.
I'm lucky that I'm still here.
However, when Vera, the other housekeeper, didn't go home the night before, her husband got really concerned and actually went to the Savopoulos home the next morning.
Knocking and ringing the bell, and that my feeling it was that somebody was inside.
A short time after, he gets a call from Saba Savopoulos.
I'm sorry because I didn't call you last night. Vera told me to call you. She has to stay with my wife because she was feeling bad, and she has to go to the hospital and asking Vera to go with her.
A shoe print was found on the back door of the family's home, indicating that someone had possibly forced their way into the house. $40,000 had been stolen from the family, and Savas's assistant, Jason, had actually withdrawn and brought the $40,000 in cash to the home and left it on the front porch after Savas asked him to. Not only that, but the family's blue Porsche was missing as well. It was later found 13 miles away in a church parking lot, completely on fire. Now, like I said before, Vera was found critically injured. However, she did later pass away at the hospital. A medical examiner determined that her, Savas, and Amy passed away from sharp forced injuries and also possibly being hit with a baseball bat. Savas and Vera had both been strangled as well. Now, Philip, he passed away from sharp force injuries and also thermal injuries. It is believed that the house fire was actually started in Philip's bedroom with the use of gasoline. He was home from school sick that day. The investigators would later determine that all 4 victims had actually been held hostage and tortured in the house for more than a day before it was set on fire. So obviously at this point, investigators deemed this a quadruple homicide case, but who could and who would do this? Seemingly someone desperate for money, but some of the money was left behind, and so was other valuable items like a lot of jewelry and a lot of expensive art. Fortunately, though, investigators were able to find DNA on a piece of pizza crust that was left in the home that was actually ordered while the family was being held hostage. This led them to a 37-year-old man named Daron Wint. Daron actually used to work at one of Savas's businesses. He worked at AIW as a certified welder. And when they looked further into him, they found out that he was born in Guyana and he immigrated to the U.S. back in 2000. He enlisted in the Marines and he was attending boot camp for 2 months before he was discharged for medical reasons. Now, Daron, he had been arrested multiple times on charges including things like concealing different weapons, thefts, harassment, and violating an order of protection. One of his family members said that Daron was very hostile, he was arrogant, and he never listened to anybody. Daron's own father felt so threatened by his son that he went out and got an order of protection against him as well. He said back in 2005, Daron stood in the street in front of his house and threatened him and his wife. Now, Daron did quit his position at AIW. He was not fired, so it did not seem that there was any kind of like hostile reason that he would be involved in this. However, people that worked there with Daron said that he had a record of getting in trouble when he was at work. Also, 5 years after he quit and 5 years before the incident, Daron was arrested behind the AIW building for threatening someone with an actual machete. Now, it's not totally clear what happened or who he was threatening, but it's interesting nonetheless. So an arrest warrant was put out for Daron for first-degree murder. And according to Daron's girlfriend at the time, Daron planned on turning himself in. However, he didn't. Daron was arrested 7 days after this incident during a traffic stop. U.S. Marshals had tracked him all the way to Brooklyn, New York, then to a hotel in College Park, Maryland, where he was in a truck with 2 women and $7,000 cash. Behind him in a box truck was Daron's younger brother, Daryl, and other friends who had $13,000 in money orders. Now, the $7,000 in cash that Daron had was all in $100 bills, which was the same denomination that had been withdrawn from Savas's bank account. When officers arrived, Daron was seen leaving the hotel and a pursuit immediately ensued. He was followed by cop cars and a police helicopter for 5 miles before eventually surrendering. They say that Daron showed absolutely no emotion when he was taken into custody, alongside 3 men and 2 women. That brings us to the trial. Daron pled not guilty to all the charges against him, and I must say that Daron's attorney went hard for him, you guys. I'm talking about fought for this man's innocence. I mean, his lawyer had a very unique perspective of Daron. He claimed that Daron was a very nice person that was very charming. He was gentle, he was nonviolent, and he was even patriotic. I mean, forget all of his other charges and like the restraining order against him in the past and the fact that his own father had a restraining order against him. But I mean, he was just so gentle and nonviolent and very patriotic. I mean, his attorney even said that Daron was the last person that he would think could ever be involved in this crime or any other violent crime for that matter. This lawyer believed that Daron had been completely set up and that he claimed that the police must have went over a list of employees at Savas's company and found someone who had a criminal record. He even went on to say that the DNA being on the pizza crust was completely meaningless.
They believe, perhaps honestly, that they have the man, but as a result of that, they're not looking elsewhere. Can't believe that he would have done anything like this at all. He is not capable of lifting his hand with a knife and sticking it repeatedly in another person.
When I saw that, I instantly thought, now don't get me wrong, we know that there are some dirty police officers out there, just like there's bad apples in every bunch, right? And we know that people have been set up before, but it so gave me O.J. Simpson vibes because, like, completely ignore the DNA evidence. He's being set up. He's a gentle, teddy bear. And it's like, okay. Now, Daron's trial went on to begin in September of 2018. And for his defense, he claimed that Daron had actually been set up by his own half-brother, Daryl. The prosecution admitted that the possibility that Daron had help because of the magnitude of the crime and what all happened, but they insisted that no matter who else was there, Daron was definitely a part of the murder of this family. And not only did they have Daron's DNA on the pizza crust inside the home, but it was also on a knife in a basement. And they also claimed that Daron had made some very suspicious Google searches for things like how to beat a lie detector test or countries that have no extradition and hideout cities for fugitives, almost like he was preparing for this. Daron's DNA was also found on a construction vest in the stolen Porsche. So was Savas's and another unknown male's. This made the prosecution believe that Daron had been wearing it when Savas was killed. Daron actually got on the stand and he testified in his own defense, y'all. I mean, he claimed that his brother Daryl lured him to the family's home by claiming that he needed help with a paint and drywall job, but then later asked Daron for his help with robbing the home. Daron claimed that he absolutely refused to help his brother and that he stayed on the main floor of the house, and he said that he was not aware that anybody else was in the house, let alone that anybody was in the home being hurt. Daron said that his brother told him to get into the Porsche and that he would drive back to where his car was. But instead, he said that his brother drove him in the Porsche to the parking lot where the car would eventually be set on fire. Now, as for the Google searches, Daron said that he only made those searches after seeing a story about the crime on the news and that he was really worried that he would be falsely linked to this case. So that's why he Googled those things. Daron's fiance at the time testified and said that Daron stayed with her in her New York home after this incident happened. And she said that he told her that he had won the lottery and he was paying for dinner and he was going on all these shopping sprees and he was paying for everything in cash. Daron was eventually found guilty of 20 counts of kidnapping, extortion, and murder. From there, Daron was indeed sentenced to 4 life sentences without the possibility of parole. And when Daron was asked if he wanted to make any kind of statement, he simply said no. Now, Daron actually appealed his conviction back in 2020, but the D.C. Court of Appeals denied his request for a new trial. Prosecutors have said that they believe that Daron did not act alone, but he is the only person who has ever been charged in connection with this case. They do wonder if Daron's brother, was actually involved, and they also wonder if Savis's assistant Jason was involved. Now, Jason had actually only worked for Savis for a couple months, and he had taken a picture of all that money that he withdrew from, that $40,000, and he sent it to his girlfriend. He took a picture of it, and he sent it to his girlfriend to kind of flodge or whatever, yeah. And it appeared that he once lived in the same apartment complex that Daron's father lived in. Savis and Amy's 2 daughters say that they have forgiven Daron for what he did, but that they still live with the grief every single day. One of the daughters said that she still expects to see her mom calling her sometimes, and she even picks up her phone, looking to see if the call is from mom. And the other daughter said that hating the people who hurt her will not make anything right. And that she said that's why she forgives Daron for his trespasses, which tells me that these 2 girls were raised amazingly. It is so sad that they lost basically their whole family. I mean, their mother, their father, and their little brother, as well as the housekeeper. I did see that the housekeeper had been working for the family for, I believe, 5 years, and she was making money so she could pay for her family stuff and a college for her kids. And again, she was planning on retiring the following year. She was from El Salvador. Absolutely horrific and devastating. But I do wonder if somebody else was involved. If it was the brother and he got sent away from it, it would be so wild. But I actually don't believe that. I mean, obviously I'm not there. I didn't look at the evidence. All I know is what we can find by researching. And then the other male DNA that was found in the Porsche, that could have honestly been anybody. It could have been somebody that he worked with or anything like that. But it's very interesting that Daron's DNA was there. But there's other pieces. Was Jason involved? Was the brother involved? Were other people involved? I think somebody else was involved. So this is what I mean by the case is kind of closed, but kind of open, and also very sad. Have y'all heard about this? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Other than that, thank y'all so much for watching this video. I love y'all, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.